Imagine waking up in the middle of the night to find your house on fire. You frantically jump out of bed and run outside. But once you get outside, instead of calling for help, you take a selfie in front of the flames and post it with the caption, #prayers for my house, #, not hashtag. Within minutes, your post has gone viral. People like it, comment on it, share it, and even start trending hashtags of their own. But as the likes and the comments continue to roll in, the fire continues to rage. No one has picked up a hose. No one has called the fire department. This is often how online activism works. Flames of injustice burning and spreading while we continue to confuse awareness with action. So today I would like to challenge the way we engage with the world's problems and ask, are we really helping to make a difference, or are we just watching the fire burn brighter? We live in an age where online activism has become as simple as a click, a hashtag here, a repost there, and suddenly we feel like we're contributing to change. While online activism has undeniably brought awareness to important issues and given a voice to people who have been silenced for a long, long time, we need to be careful not to mistake this awareness for progress. Because while online activism does make us feel empowered, it gives us this illusion of advancement. Because the noise of all the outrage drowns out the call for action, and beneath the viral posts and the trending hashtags, we see very little systemic change. Now, imagine trying to clean your room by sweeping everything under the rug. At first glance, the room looks spotless. You've done your job, right? But after some time, the pile underneath the rug begins to grow, and suddenly, you're tripping over your cleaning. This is often how online activism works. Because by constantly and actively posting and reposting about important issues, we might think we're addressing them, when in reality, we're sweeping them under the rug. But don't get me wrong, online activism does have its place. It has raised awareness about important issues and given a voice to people who have been silenced for a long, long time. But we must be careful not to confuse this awareness for progress. Because we might see a trending hashtag and think, wow, things are changing. But in actuality, all we've done is swept everything under the rug. All we've done is mask the core problem, the dirt. Now let us talk about why this keeps happening. One word, algorithms. Algorithms do not care about change. They care about engagement. They love controversy, sensationalism, and of course, a good clapback. If you post something thoughtful and solution-oriented, you might get a few likes, maybe a few comments. But if you throw in a spicy tweet calling somebody out, boom, you get instant engagement. This is what the algorithm rewards. Now, let us think back to this rug. By constantly and actively reposting and posting, we have just merely swept the issues under the rug. But this leaves us high and dry. Now, the good news is there are things that we can do. First, we need to shift from performative activism to purposeful activism. Because we need to realize that a lot of the time, the real work takes place offline and away from our screens. We need to make an effort to be more meaningful about our activism. This can happen through community organizing, protests, and even just advocating for policy changes. Secondly, we need to support grassroots organizations because they're the ones who tackle the real problems on the ground. Because many organizations are tackling these systemic issues head-on, but they don't get the viral attention that they deserve. They might not be as flashy or as trendy as the hashtags, but they do get the job done. We need to be supporting them by donating, volunteering, and even collaborating with them. Lastly, we need to notice the value of solution-driven conversations. Because while outrage does have its place and it can spark change, we need to be careful not to get stuck in endless cycles of outrage. Instead, we need to move forward and start asking, what's next? Because sometimes we might get angry and start focusing on blaming people, instead of focusing on addressing systemic issues by asking, how can we fix this? We focus on blaming people and asking, who can we blame? It's as if we've been conditioned to care more about looking like we're making a difference rather than actually making a difference. This is where we go wrong. We need to be more intentional about engaging in meaningful dialogue that will bring about changes to the issues that we're angry about. Now, let's think back to that rug. After sweeping everything under the rug, at some point, the pile has grown and you will trip. And already we are tripping over the illusion of progress. Because by constantly and actively posting about big issues, we're not addressing them. We're simply just giving ourselves this sense of validation. So we need to be very careful not to mistake sweeping issues under the rug for actual progress. Now, we need to remember that surface-level activism disguises deeper problems that remain unsolved. So we need to take practical steps towards meaningful change. Now, I would like to leave you with a question. Will you act beyond the screen? Thank you.